excitement. It's really what it is about.
There is never, ever a dull moment in this game.
He's definitely taking the franchise forward.
It's just an absolute riot on wheels.
No, this is better than real life. It's more exciting.
We've brought the MotorStorm franchise across to the PSP, trying to bring everything that you see in the PS3 versions across intact. So we've got your ragdolls, your crazy crashes, all the events going on around the player.
So MotorStorm Arctic Age has got a very unique look and feel to it compared to the previous games. Obviously the biggest difference is that this time it's set on a snowy mountain. It's added a few interesting twists to the game. So we've got nice elements of scenery which interact with the player. So we've got avalanches that can knock you off or destroy you. We've got ice bridges that will break if you drive over with a big rig. We've got bobsleigh corners, which are kind of cool because once you go onto those you've got no traction. So it's all about boosting and hitting the corner at the right angle. Because we're based in the UK, all we know is green hills and rain basically. So we figured to make this game authentic, we wanted to head out to the actual scenery in Alaska.
We saw lots of cool stuff firsthand on the reference trip. Amazing scenery, which we've tried to capture pretty well on the PSP, I think. Beautiful mountains, beautiful lighting.
It's so open and wide, and it's very beautiful as well. You can go to areas where there's nobody for hundreds of miles around.
The colours, vibrant colours, more so than you'd probably expect from a snow game.
We came back with around 9,000 photos. I think we got about 5 hours of video footage. But the most important thing for those of us who went was being able to soak up the atmosphere and exactly how it all fits together. So when it came to making the game, we could tell the team how everything works and exactly how it all should look.
So game content-wise, first thing to say, the big thing is the tracks. So there's 12 tracks in the game, scaling up the side of the mountain, going from low to high.
The tracks in Arctic Age are loosely set over 3 zones on the mountain. So we have the lower down tracks, which tend to be more mud and gravel and that kind of thing. As you move higher up the mountain, we have the more gravelly tracks with a bit of snow in there. These are kind of an in-between set of tracks where you get a big variety of gameplay types. The last set of tracks is set at the very top of the mountain, where it's all very snowy, so we've got things like avalanches, we've got heavy snowstorms, all these kind of things add to that Arctic feel.
Certain stages on certain tracks you enter what we like to call danger zones, whereby by triggering certain events you can cause rock slides to occur. So if you're in a pretty good position up in the race and you want to consolidate that position, you can, if you're very careful, trigger one of these events and it will wipe out everybody behind you.
And the important thing is the tracks are reversible, a new thing for MotorStorm. You can race them in both directions with slightly different routes from one way to the other. Multiplayer in Arctic Edge is both ad hoc and online, and we've got a maximum of 6 players racing. So you can go online, play with your friends in the same room, ad hoc, fine. Go online, play with your mates in different countries if you want.
It's generally a lot of games I go for ad hoc, but being able to play online with anybody around the world is kind of a major feature.
Vehicles-wise, there's 24 vehicles in the game, 8 of each class, of which there's 2 new classes. So we've got the buggy, the ATV, the rally car, the big rig, bike, and the mud plugger, which we call the snow plugger.
One in each class of the vehicles is from the previous MotorStorm games, and the others are unique designs to our game.
Plus we've added the Snowcat,
which is a massive, aggressive vehicle. So it's got twin tank tracks, it's got a massive snowplow on the front. The idea is with this one, you can barge all the opponents out of the way and still grip onto the snowy surfaces.
And the Snow Machine.
They're a lot more nimble, agile, like the ATVs and the bikes, but I'm more obviously accustomed to the sort of snowy environment, really.
It's quite difficult to actually pick a favourite vehicle. I mean, they're all very well balanced and they've all got very different driving abilities. It all depends on, to a large extent, how the player wants to play themselves. If they're a very cautious player, then they'll probably go for one of the larger vehicles. It's very big, it's very safe, and you can basically bulldoze everything out of the way. Or if you want a bit of race and you want a bit of speed and you want a bit of risk, you could go for one of the smaller vehicles like the ATVs. That's definitely one of my favourites. But you've got to be careful because you are such a small vehicle, you're going to be vulnerable against these big behemoths that are going to come thundering up behind you.
Throughout Arctic Age, the player can unlock various parts for their vehicles. They can then go to the garage and customise the vehicle with, there's hundreds of different spoilers and bumpers and wheels. You can also change colours and logos and that kind of thing.
You'll unlock packs for, say, the ATV and then packs for other specific vehicles throughout the game.
And the idea is that rather than giving the player hundreds of preset vehicles, you give them hundreds of choices of parts so they can make a vehicle that's unique to them.
And just completely get your own look for the vehicle, and also go online with that as well, so you can have your own sort of online identity.
It's something we really wanted to push on the PSP because it's not been done to a massive sort of extent, really.
When picking the soundtrack for any MotorStorm game, there's very few things you have to remember other than the MotorStorm Festival and what it is and its ethos and the people that would go there. It doesn't like you, it doesn't care about the noise, and it won't turn it down even though it's 4 AM. The idea is that as you race around the MotorStorm tracks, you get closer to all different aspects of what you would find at an everyday festival at Glastonbury or at the Burning Man. You'll have different areas with different music and different pockets of people, and that's the idea. You'll have David Bowie against Pendulum, who'd win in a fight. My money's on Bowie. We don't cater the music for the racing because you just end up with a generic rock soundtrack, which we don't want. It's nothing to do with MotorStorm if it's just generic. MotorStorm is anything but. We try and balance big name artists with small name artists. Not necessarily, they don't have to be, you've never heard of them before, but just guys you know that you might find at any kind of a festival. We've got a band called The Bronx, they're awesome. We've got Fake Blood, who are up and coming, they're going to be huge. The Overseer, and there's a brilliant big beat dance act. Couple that with, you know, Queens of the Stone Age and The Prodigy and Radiohead, you're onto a winner.
The challenges we've faced in bringing the game to the PSP and the PSP Go mainly stems from taking a very high detail game on a very powerful home system and making that portable. So a lot of that's involved trying to recreate the same look but using a lot less polygons, a lot less processing power.
Pretty much, you know, you're looking at every area of code, from audio, the way you sort of handle the gameplay modes, borrowing code from the PS3 version, looking at it and going, oh my god, that's not going to run on the PSP, but let's try and work some magic with it and put it in a form where it is going to run and everything's going to run up to speed and you get a good fluid racing experience out of it.
We had a bar at the bottom of the PSP dev kit which showed us the performance as we were to drive around the levels, so we could target specific key areas with more polygons and get it running in frame really nicely.
This, as far as we're concerned, is going to be one of the best looking games you will see on the PSP.
From very early on we knew that MotorStorm Arctic Age was going to be a release title for the Go. This is really cool for us because it means that people can download and play the game anywhere. Also it's got the new screen on it which is really high detail, so the game looks great.
I think it's what I really like about the game is just the fast racing you get. It's the sensation of going so fast, you know, close to the environment, close to the races, so much going on at the same time. It's really exciting, really.
So MotorStorm Arctic Edge is coming out very soon. It's going to be the best racing game on the PSP.
I think the fans will really love it.